that's the A section, and the B section sounds like this. So as you can see, the track is low. It hasn't been really leveled out as much as I would like it to be. So that's the track we're going to be mixing using iZotope plugins. So what we're going to do first before we go anywhere is to make sure that we come here to the channel rack and click all to make sure that we see all the channels that are in this project and make sure that they're all being sent to the mixer. And as you can see, all these other ones are being sent to the mixer. So it's just a check to see if all the channels are being sent. But we have these ones at the bottom here that are not going to the mixer. So we're going to press Control L and automatically send them to, assign them to mixer channels. So I'm just going to switch over to the compact. To the compact mixer view here. So that's the first step, to make sure that all the channels are being sent to the mixer and make sure that you can start your mixing process. So this is already low because I did do some gain staging, and as you can see, the volumes are already adjusted here on the channel racks already. That's why the track is sounding really low. But in mixing, we're not really pushing too much for loudness. We're pushing for clarity. So if you have a good sound system, or if you have good headphones, that's why you need to turn your headphones all the way up. You need to make sure that you turn them all the way up so that you don't overcompensate with volume, because that's a problem that a lot of people have. They try to mix loud and try to push the volumes up loud for loudness. But if you do want some loudness, what you can do is maybe you can throw on an EQ and you can just add a little bit of volume. So you can get that initial volume, but always bear in mind that you might want to delete that channel. So what I like about iZotope plugins, especially if you're using this plan from iZotope, the Music Production Suite Pro, is that you get all these amazing plugins that come with that. And what I like is also you can use Neutron for mixing, and Neutron for mixing is the best. You get a compressor, you get an EQ, you get an exciter, you get a gate, a sculptor. Ooh, I love the sculptor. And you also get a transient shaper, and you get the suite, which is the Neutron Pro suite. So that's what we're going to be using. So firstly, what we can do is critically listen to the sounds and see which sounds are jumping out at us. So I think the sound is jumping out. So we just need to turn that down. And then we start to add sounds as we go. And that crash is also jumping out at us. So I'm just going to lower this sound here. That saw sound, it sounds too much. And our kick, we're going to drop it down because you know Amapiano kicks. This is a kind of a Amapiano R&B vibe-ish type of thing, because this track does have vocals, but we're only just focusing on mixing the beat itself. So we're just going to drop the kick down so it's not too much. I think we have a good level at the moment right now. Okay, so now here on this sound, we're going to drop in an equalizer right there. And you can see the frequencies here. And we're just going to come to this first one here, and we're going to change this type. So you just click once, and then you come here where it says analog low shelf, and we're going to turn it to a high pass and drag this one dot here to change the slope, and we're gonna make it real slopey like that, and take out the low frequencies, and we're gonna boost some of the mid frequencies to add some presence. So this is without, and this is with. That cleaned it up so nice. And then we're gonna add some of these sounds. Okay, so I'm gonna throw an EQ on this kind of a sound that I feel has too much frequencies. Like, look at how broad this one has frequencies. So this time I'm not gonna use a high pass filter, but I'm just gonna use a shelf. And I'm just gonna shelf out the frequencies that I don't want it to focus in. So I want it to be focused here on number 3, which is the frequencies that you find here, like 3000 hertz. These are the frequencies that I wanted to focus in on. And I'm gonna come to this sax here. So it already has some EQ going on here. And I'm gonna do the same. But for this one, I'm gonna raise some of these frequencies here because I want this sound to cut through all the other sounds. So what I'm doing with this sax sound is that I'm boosting up the nasally kind of texture in it because I want it to cut through. And since it's a sax, it can have that kind of nasally texture to it. And then we're going to go to our keys, to our chords here. And what we're going to do here is we're also going to do the same thing. We're going to use a shelf to just turn down a little bit of the low end. And we're going to raise a high shelf to bring up some of this high end. To let the high end kind of shine in because it kind of has a little bit of some attack going on this section here. You see these spikes over here. We want those to shine in. And what you can do as well is you can also add an exciter after this. And then I can bring it to like maybe tube. Okay, I think that sounds really good already. And then now we can move on to the drums because the drums don't have any attention. So I'm just gonna move this sound to the right here. And I'm gonna pick one empty slot here and I'm going to rename it. And I'm just gonna call it drums. And I'm just gonna change the color of it and find some really loud color to give it so I can know that it's drums. And I'm just gonna dock it. Let's dock it maybe to the left right here so we know that's where all our drums are going to. So our drums are all of these. I think that's all our drums, right? That's all our drums. And I'm just gonna come here and do channel track routing and create submix, and boom. So now all these sounds are being sent to the drum master. You see, if I mute, then all the drums stop playing. So I now sent all the drums to one channel. So what I can do is I can just mute everything else and just unmute just the drums, so I can just listen to the drums only. Okay, I like this sound here, but I feel like it's a tad too shiny, so I'm gonna drop in an EQ and analyze it. I'm gonna drop that. You see, this sound has some low end there. We don't want that low end there, so we're just gonna high pass that and do that. And take away the slow frequencies that we don't want. And keep it like that. And then that's gone, and then we can add this loop here. So this loop already has an EQ that's there. So I took out, high passed some of the low end out of this sound here. Okay, so that's not a drum sound. So I'm gonna move this one out. Okay, so we have another sound here, which is a rim. So I'm gonna make it live right there around 1075 hertz, somewhere around there, to focus in on that frequency there. And I'm gonna leave the other sound that's similar to it, that's next to it, the other rim shot, just as is. And I'm gonna leave that one as is. I think it sounds really good as is. And our kick. Okay, so I'm gonna drop in an EQ here on our kick. I'm gonna drop some of the low mids out to really emphasize its low end. Like that. And then we're gonna come here to the drum bus so that we can process all the drums together. And then first we're gonna throw in an EQ. So we can see we kind of have a balance here. Although we can drop some of the bass a tad bit and raise some of the high mids a little bit. And what we can do, we can throw in a compressor and drop the threshold. We just want to catch a little bit of these peaks and drop some of this attack. And the makeup gain, we're gonna leave it as is. So what we're doing now is that we're just doing a little bit of gluing, just gluing the whole drum bus together. So all our drums so that they sound really good. And then next we're gonna add an exciter to add some texture to the sound. And maybe we can go to warm. I kind of like this retro side. So this is without, and this is with. It's just adding some crunch to the drums when we add this exciter, and it's like it's filling in some harmonics that are not even present, but it's adding some real nice thickness and warmth to the drum mix. And what I like is you also have a mix switch here. So if you want to turn down your mix, if you like your levels, but you just want to maybe fine tune a little bit more, you can play around with the mix here. Yeah, maybe around 60% is really good. That's really dope. And you also have somewhere where you can click where it says learn. So it can learn the frequencies that you might want to work with and so forth. And you can switch between the modes, the global filter modes, which is full, defined, or clear. And you can see what you can do with that. And you also have the post filter frequency here. Okay, I like that. Okay, so that turns it off. So I think that's fine as is. And then next we want to try the sculptor on the drum mix. And if you open the sculptor here, it says select a target to begin shaping your audio. So what we have here is we put it on drums. So let's see. I can use maybe the percussion. And maybe I can choose something here. I can do drums. Okay, so this is without and with. Okay. So you can see it's taken out, it's like correcting a little bit of my mistakes. And it's taking out the mid-range and allowing certain frequencies in the high mids to come in and also the lows to come in as well. And if you wanted to go more, if you wanted to go low, and if you want to adjust the tone, and the speed. I actually don't want to overdo this. And you can zone in on certain frequencies that you want by pulling these. Like if you want your low end to be untouched and you just want to work on your mid-range only, you can do that. Yeah, because I feel like the mid-range is where the problematic frequencies are. So I wanted to focus on the mid-range mostly. So without and with. And you also have a transient shaper that you can also use here if you want to add or like take out transients. So if you raise the attack, you bring in more transients. And I think if you drop the attack, you are taking out transients out of the sound. But I don't want to use the transient shaper. I think it's sounding fine as is. So let's play this whole thing. Okay, so we also have another sound here, which is this sound, which is this organ that's going into the drum master. So we're just going to take it out and make sure it goes to the master straight. And one thing I'm noticing is that we also have a snare right here. So we're just gonna lastly work on the snare. So I'm gonna throw in a compressor because I feel like compressing the snare. And I'm gonna use the makeup to bring back the volume I'm gonna lose here. Drop my attack and raise my release and increase the ratio. And I'm gonna use the sculptor to sculpt the sound of this snare. I don't know, it's just something about snares that I like to really work on because I love snares. All right. I don't want it to be too crispy, but I want it to have a really nice tone to it. So without, okay, I think that's good enough. And I'm just gonna turn it down a tad bit. So it's not so present without this processing, but with, yo. Okay, that sounds much better. And if we go to our bass, I feel like the bass is okay. I don't have any quarrels with the bass that's playing over here. That's why I didn't really touch it myself. So we have the log here, and then we have the sub bass here. What I could do is maybe I could add an EQ on the log drum here and just add a high pass. And change the slope just to take out the sub frequencies. And you know what the hell, let me throw in an exciter there just to add some harmonics to it. And I'm gonna use the warm. Yeah, just to add some warmth to it like that. I'm happy with this mix. But what's left now is to try it out on different systems, see how it sounds, see what I can change and how all these sounds are translating on different systems. And that's how you work on a mix. So this is the mix that I made here. So I can save it as is. And if I want to come back and start a whole new mix, I can keep this on the side and start a new mix. That's the process of mixing. You want to take your time, you want to be patient, and you can do maybe 5 versions or 5 mixes that you start from scratch on different days, and then at the end see which mix sounds better to your ears out of the 5 that you have or the different versions that you have. So that's kind of the thing, but I wanted to show you what you can do with mixing with Neutron that you get with the Music Production Suite Pro. And guys, you can try it out for 7 days for free, and then if you really want to use the Music Production Suite Pro from iZotope, you can pay $24.99 per month, and then you can get all these plugins. You get RX Pro, you get Neutron Pro, Nectar Pro, Vocal Synth Pro, Insight Pro, Ozone Pro, Neoverb Pro, Tonal Balance Pro, and even much more that you can get with the Music Production Suite. So try it out and see what you can do. But that's what I'm using to mix music, and it's really good. I love it. I love how my music is coming out. I really feel like I have all the tools that I need. It's just up to me to put in the knowledge and put in the work and do what I can do. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop it a thumbs up and share it to a friend that wants to make the music sound good and mix their music. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. I am X, and I'm out. Peace.